Hello, the internet. It is Tuesday, the 20th of July, 2021, and welcome back to the channel. And welcome back to day 20 of July. What is July? Good question. Take the word July, take the word live, merge them together, and you get July. And it is what it sounds like. Every day for this month, July, I'll be live here on YouTube. I have been live. We are 20 days in. That means there's 10 days left. 30 days in July or 31? I cannot recall. Either way, it's nice to have you here for the month of July. I do live streams on DLive daily as well as YouTube. This month is a double banger, a double header in the morning, in the evening, all over the place. YouTube, DLive, heck yeah. And maybe other places if you search. Just saying. Not saying anything more. I will say hello the internet in the chat via Starlink. Question mark. I was sort of saying, is anybody watching by Starlink? Not me streaming with Starlink. I was kind of trying to see if anybody's using Starlink. Maybe any Australians in the chat. Speaking of Australians, Hendrik and Aero Gamer, both Aussies. Hendrik said, "Rat's ass, this ain't via Starlink." See, I thought the question mark would have given that away, that I wasn't saying I was using Starlink. I was kind of trying to see if anyone else was. Aero Gamer, Dugsky, can't beat you, Hendrik. You're too quick. How's it going, Gibbs? I'm doing well, Aero. I'm doing very well. Good morning. Hey, Dugsky, you quick fox. It's the 20th, not a jack opening. 21st is a jack opening. 21st. So the first of the month was a jack opening, which means that you've got to go 10 days. So that makes it the 21st. Tomorrow we open that special bottle of Jack. Yeah, if you can't wait for that, I can't either. Do you guys know what that is behind me? Hold on, let's not talk too much about that. Let's bring up the chisel chat. It's just Aero Gamer, Hendrik, and myself. Although I do see... Yeah, I thank you for the 3 likes, folks. Thank you very much for the upvotes. That's much appreciated. I very much appreciate that. Thank you. Well, Starlink. As you may remember or may recall, I was on the Better Than Nothing beta program. I signed in very, very quick when that opened up in Australia, and I got the confirmation. And then about a week before they shipped the dish, the dishy McFlap dish, McFace dish, you know, the big thing. About a week before they started shipping those out to Australian users, Elon put out that tweet, or there was that article that included the mention of ESIM, Earth Stations in Movement, the application for the patent to the FCC. And so I quickly withdrew my application. Yo, Stally's in the house. G'day, Stally. What's Starlink? Oh yeah, I probably should have explained what that is. How you doing, man? This is probably interesting for you because you're moving out to Australia from the UK. Starlink is Elon Musk's satellite internet. Low Earth orbit satellites roaming around the planet, or across and back if you've got a flat Earth model. Don't know how that works. To give us internet all over the planet. Wherever you are, you have access to the internet, your own service via satellite. So right now it's being used in the States and it's being used in Australia. But the reason I pulled the pin on it is because my use case will be on a vehicle. At this stage, it'll be on Stevan, my Mitsubishi Delica 4-wheel drive camper van. That's what it will be on. The idea was that I was going to wangle, because right now it's a big dish and you put it on the roof of your house and it points to a particular part of the sky. That's how you use it. There are people that have been wangling it and putting it on RVs and motorhomes. No one's quite doing it while they're driving, except for this Yahoo in California who got pulled over for having it on the front of his, like on the hood of his, or the trunk of his car. So no one's actually using it for what I want to use it for, which is live streaming while moving. But Elon did make an application to the FCC for what they call ESIM applications of Starlink, which is Earth Stations in Movement. And he specifically said this is for RVs, also ship boats, and one other thing, aircraft. He didn't quite mention vehicles like cars, but he did mention RVs, recreational vehicles, so a bigger vehicle. That's why Steve N might not be so suitable, but eventually we're going to upgrade that to something electric if Bitcoin ever goes back up. Although right at the moment, Hex is doing everything it needs to, so maybe we're looking towards Hex instead of Bitcoin. Anyway, that's another topic. But I withdrew my application and I got the refund back, and I've been watching kind of closely what this ESIM thing is all about. Now, the sad news is there isn't really an update to that. There hasn't really been much spoken of Earth stations in movement, but there has been a lot of talk about people in Australia using Starlink as it's meant to, out of the box. And so I want to get an update on how that's going, because if that works and then the ESMI version comes out, then hopefully, did I say ESMI? ESIM version, when that comes out, we're going to patch into the existing network. So that thing's got to be working to start with. So we haven't done this yet on the Dew live streams. I want to look into it today. I got a video here from a channel called what are they called? Netvolt? Yeah, Netvolt Australia, this channel here. This is a video that went up about a month ago. On-site installation of a SpaceX Starlink terminal, along with Netvolt's seamless 4G LTE failover. Demonstration of service speeds with plain vanilla Starlink, as well as Netvolt's Starlink 4G failover, along with how this unique failover technology works. That'll be intriguing. But likes and dislikes have been removed. That's always dubious when a creator removes the ability to like and dislike. That's mad. Yes, Dally, right, mad. Ashley Hughes. Hello, Ashley. Hi from the UK. Hello, Ashley. We've got a few UK crew up there now. Ashley and Stally, say hello to each other. Your MIMO antennas are going to block Dishface's vision of the satellites. Giggle Pickles! What? Giggle Pickles in the house on a YouTube stream? Goodness gracious me, Gigs. How you doing? This is strange to see you over here, Giggle Pickles. Nice to have you here. Hi to all the UK viewers and from down under. And look at that. This is cool. Hey, Hendrik. Giggles. Hey, Hendrik. This is cool. I like this. We don't often see the likes of D-Live. Well, we see Hendrik and we see Aero Gamer, Dugsky, but we don't often see Giggles. Let's move in, folks, and take a look at this video. We'll commentate as it goes. We'll make it full screen. Netvolt. Pretty low mop volume.
Hey guys, Radic here from Netvolt.
Radic.
We're here on site at one of our clients' premises where we're doing an installation of our Starlink plus 4G seamless failover solutions. I've got Nick here from ATS. He's going to...
I wonder if this failover or fallover service includes some kind of antenna like I have for 4G, or if they're just going to put a 4G modem.
Be helping us getting the equipment mounted on the roof. Here in front of me, I've got our external antenna pole and the associated brackets. That's what's going to be installed on the roof itself. We have Dishy McFlatface himself, so he's obviously going up on the roof. And this here is our Cisco router that has our technology with our seamless 4G failover built in. We also have an external 4G antenna that's going to help with the signal direction. And
I did not say that. That'll be a MIMO antenna for sure. Giggles, I'm always here on the tubes of you. Are you always watching and you're just not commenting? Okay. Well, let me just give you guys a little tipsky. There are 7 of you watching. We got 4 upvotes. Can we get more? Can we get more? Can we get at least everybody upvoting this? Oh, but by the way, if you hate me, you're welcome to dislike it. But I'm trying to trip the YouTube algorithm by asking for likes. Also, smash that subscribe button, share this out with all your friends, hit that notification bell button. Don't forget to dingle on the dangle and make sure you do all the things YouTube. Yeah. It's good to be a YouTuber, isn't it? Hell yeah. Hate the dab, love the dab on the haters. Yeah, awesome YouTube. Giggity.
being able to point that to the closest mobile phone tower, along with a Cisco video phone as well. This particular solution, the client will be using
video phone? What?
Video calls back to their head office when he's working here from home.
Fair enough.
So let's get this installed on the roof and get cracking with the installation from there.
Don't make this a cinematic ting. Dudes, you're installing a router and a Dishy McDish McFlatface, and you've done this. Bring it in, make it anamorphic, give it the teal and aqua treatment. Don't do that. It's not a movie. We're not watching a feature film here. YouTube, you've got a lot to blame for. Oversold. Hendrik, this client has been oversold by whoever this net hoax company is. Netvolt. Wow. Yeah, that ain't going on Steve Van, hey. Wow. That's pretty cool though.
Okay, so our guys have finished the installation on the client's roof here. We've got our roof-mounted pole with Dishy installed at the top here. So
just as a heads up for those that are wondering, if you did buy Starlink, you wouldn't get all that crap. All you'd get is Dishy McFlatface, this guy here. Where's my mouse? See my mouse? How come my mouse isn't going big? There. You'd get this thing and a little pole and a triangular base. That's all you get. And the modem and stuff inside. You don't get all these extensions and crap.
The Starlink terminal is installed at the top right here, pointing straight up at the sky. We also have our external 4G antenna that we have aligned to the closest 4G tower down this direction, and we've actually aligned this based on the...
Ashley, today was Freedom Day in the UK. No more legal COVID restrictions. Weird. Wow, isn't that strange? Because we've got it hardcore right now down under. It's heavy right now. It's the heaviest it's been, the lockdowns. Heavy crap going on in Australia. So just know that this is like a pendulum. It's going to swing back your way soon, Ashley. Sorry to be the one that gives you the bad news. So what does this say? Kangaroo Flat, Fairview Road, Telstra site. So they're about a little bit closer to the tower than I am. I'm 3 Ks from my tower. They're 2.6 Ks away. It feels so strange not having to wear a face mask. Make sure you bring yours down to Australia, Stally. When are you thinking of coming out here, by the way?
The Fresnel report zone that we prepared for the client earlier, so we know we're pointing this in the best possible direction. But this is all nice and sturdy, installed on the roof here. All this is nice and neat running through the pole itself, so we can minimize damage to any cables going forward. But this is all finished from upstairs on the roof section here, so let's go inside and have a look what we've got inside the home office itself. Okay, so we've come inside now and we're inside the customer's home office.
In September this year. Oh, wow. If all goes to plan, right? Because, well, it's kind of difficult to get into Australia these days. Unless you're, what's her name? The one that came on the show, the Big Brother show? She just got booted out of the country. Oh, she got booted off the show. A UK political pundit. I can't remember her name, but she came over to join our Big Brother show, and she was making some lewd comments about COVID or something, and they booted her off the show. She's still in the country though.
So the guys have finished the installation on the roof now, and over here we've got the cables coming down from the roof. We've got the cable for the Starlink terminal here, along with the 2 external coax cables for the 4G LTE.
Coax? They're using coax for that?
Antenna. Those cables plug into the Starlink Power over Ethernet adapter here. That's the cable for Dishy, and we've got the Starlink router connected up here as well.
Hendrik, she did get booted out on a plane back to the UK now. She got booted out of the country as well as okay, because when we looked at it on DLive, she was just booted off the show. Interesting.
To the unit. I'm going to use the auxiliary port on the back of the router to do some speed tests on this, just so we can see what the service looks like in a plain vanilla Starlink setup. So we've got that directly on my laptop, so let's have a look what we've got from speed tests. If we go over to speedtest.net and hit go on our speed test.
Blacktown, okay, so suburban Sydney.
The ping that's come back through on that, pretty good from a ping perspective. And here goes the speed test. .300 megabits per second. Not too bad.
if you were previously on an NBN fiber to the node connection and you did that, You put in that's not with the 4G failover. That's just Starlink. A 40 millisecond ping and 300 down. You'd be going yeah. Let's see what the upload is though.
All right, the upload test on that.
Pretty good.
Not too bad from a speed test perspective. All right, great.
Considering your fiber to the node you'd be lucky to get maybe 70 down if you're lucky and no one else is using it, and maybe 12 up if you're lucky. Ashley, the UK government seems to be standing by the vaccine, relying on getting it to 100%. Wow. Stelly, I'm a plumber, so if we enjoy Australia, I'd have a good chance of getting citizenship. Oh, are you just coming out for a visit? Okay, I thought you were coming out, or I thought you'd already had it all sorted and you were coming out, you were migrating. My city is getting 900 megabits a second installed, but in the ground right now, I'm getting 43. So you've got a fiber connection at that point to get that speed, right?
Let's flick over to fast.com and run a speed test on fast.com. 200, not too bad from a speed test on fast.com either. But we're not going to leave this in the plain vanilla Starlink type setup. We're going to augment this, add our Cisco router to it, and show what this looks like when we start running these connections through our data centers.
Interesting what they're going to do here. Stelly, the plan is so far is moving for a full year, but you're coming out just to have a look first, right? And if you like it, then you'll come back for a year, or you are coming for a year now, a year's vacation, and then hoping to work.
And what we can add to the mix here. So I'll swap this around, replace the Starlink router with the Cisco, and let's look at the setup after this.
So then they're going to change it over to 4G only. Ashley, fiber to the property due any month now, costs around £45-60 a month. Yeah, okay. At the moment, for me to run fiber to this place here, it's going to cost $5,000 just to get it in, which is a huge. Wow, my restream just said black. That's interesting. That's a huge discount from about $12,500 about a year ago. They're dropping the price to do this in Australia because they know no one will do it. Are we still live? Yeah, I'm still live. That's weird. My restream just went all black.
Okay, so we've swapped out the Starlink router with our Cisco router here. Now, the Starlink router is a great basic router, fine for most home users.
So, sorry, they've still got Starlink coming in, but they're using their own router.
We've got a solution that's a bit more prosumer focused. So, the Cisco routers that we deploy feature BGP and MPLS technology, and we run our own smarts in there to be able to achieve a seamless 4G LTE failover. I'll show you what I mean.
Okay.
Before we do that, let's have a quick speed test again and check to make sure that everything's still the same as what we had used.
I see, Stelly. So you're coming for a year, and then if we settle in, we would be looking into permanently staying. So you are coming to work for the year. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, dude, rad, man. And you said November, didn't you? November this year? November 2022? 2021? What did it say? September this year. Okay, well, that's the best time going into your winter and coming into our summer, dude. Hell yeah.
Using the basic Starlink router. So back over here, over onto speed test, and let's run a speed test. While that speed test is running, you'll notice the IP address down here. This is not a Starlink IP address, this is one of our IP addresses. And that's part of how we achieve the seamless 4G failover. We give you a public static IP address for port forwarding, DMZs, things like that.
Public static IP address, that's good. I don't know why ISPs don't do that as a general, right? Why have we got what are they called? Not static. What's the word for not static? Ashley, I remember you were having issues with the townships all bidding for fiber to the property. Shame they had dragged their heels. It wasn't even that, Ashley. It was worse. It was the government that was elected. The election was determined by the government's offering of what they would offer in terms of internet, and we got sideswiped by the government saying we'll do it cheaper by giving you a crappier service. And all of our country voted for it, or the majority of our country voted for it, because we don't need the internet anyway. What are the kids on the internet for? They should be out working and sowing seeds in the field. That was the lousy approach that won the government. And now they're ripping it all out and putting it down again. They've just happened to find an extra 4.5 billion. Well, they didn't just, it was like late last year they announced, we found $4.5 billion and we're going to help you all get fiber. It's what you should have done in the first place. September next year, 2022. Gotcha. Yeah. September 2022. Gotcha. Sorry, I'm already ahead. I'm already ahead of myself here.
And the speed test on that, you can see we're getting over 300 megabits per second, similar sort of pings of what we saw before, and upload speeds, around about 20, 22 megabits per second on the upload side of things. Fantastic. I'm going to go over here to a command prompt window and do a ping to Google's DNS servers 8.8.8.8. And I'm just going to let that run in the background. And you can see we're getting 49, 50, around about 50 millisecond ping times on that. Great. On this other window here, I'm going to simulate some live network traffic by downloading a Ubuntu Linux ISO file and just let that run in the background. You can see we're getting around about 6 to 7 megabytes per second on that download. Just leave that running. While that's all
I want to see permanent uptime
running, I want to show you guys Netmon. Netmon is our network monitoring and analysis tool that we use, our network operations team uses, and we give our clients and their channel partners access to this tool as well. The great thing about this tool is it shows us a lot of information about an internet connection, and these Starlink connections, Starlink plus NetVolt 4G LTE failover is the sort of full term that we're using on these, is no exception here. We've got lots of information that we can look at. We can see the ping latency on these connections. You can see that sitting there at around about 50 odd milliseconds from the ping time. And you can see some traffic graph statistics on this as well.
It's funny, this video is kind of strange. It's like, we're using Starlink because it's Elon Musk's pretty rad technology, but ours is also good. What we've got's good too. You might want to do Starlink and add ours to it. Like, people that are using Starlink aren't doing this. They're using Starlink because Starlink shits all over NBN. They're not going, maybe we should get Starlink and a 4G connection. No, they're going, we're getting Starlink because our NBN is rubbish and we've been using 4G the whole time in place of it. They're not going to. That's probably why likes and dislikes are disabled here, because this is a stretch by NetVolt, whatever the channel, whatever the business. I think it's NetVolt. They're stretching to piggyback on technology which is basically going to replace this 4G crap, essentially. Although Elon has said it'll be a supplement to 5G and fixed line internet. So it's a funky time we find ourselves in historically, because we all know that that's all going away and this is replacing it. Like, we all know that. This is like a clutch, like a reach from a telecommunications company to still stay valid. I remember you were having issues. Ashley, my city put a couple of $100 million to private fiber company, and the upgrading the whole 2,500 homes seems great value. Privatization should have been a good call. 120 down, 32 up for 4G right this second. And I'm a few hundred meters from the 5G mast. There are a few trees in the way. Starlink is intended for the sticks, for adding the sticks connections. It's intended for that, but it is going to be, just by the very virtue of what it is, once there's enough satellites in low Earth orbit, nowhere will be without it because of the way the satellites move. The idea of putting satellites and then not giving certain area service would be weird, because the satellites all do their crossing over and meshing thing. I mean, of course you do need the station. You need the Earth station as well, and maybe that's where it's going to fall over at that point. But so why add 4G redundancy when it will be likely far off grid? Why add 4G redundancy when it will likely be far off grid? Well, first of all, the reason these guys are doing this is because 4G is pretty abundant. And in this country, given the amount of rural properties, 4G is in most places. If you can get line of sight to a tower within, say, 4 to 5 kilometers, you can boost that signal. You can put up a high antenna. This example on this video, he's within 3 kilometers from the tower, like I am. I'm using 4G right now, and yeah, I'm interested more about the Starlink stuff, but this is a sneaky little add-on from a telco. It's a bit cheeky, but you know, it'll work for certain people.
If we go and have a look at the uptime on the routers,
And
all
uptime.
this sort of information is sitting here as well. And that's
Uptime, system uptime, last value 6 hours 49 minutes, minimum 4 hours 32, maximum 6 hours 49. So it's been connected for 6 hours. Hendrik, the Earth station is apparently not far from you. Yeah, there's one yeah, I remember seeing that on that first map. Isn't it down Geelong? Isn't it down your way more, or Victoria way? Yeah, I remember seeing that.
it's ready to go.
But of course, that changes when the ESIM rolls out. So the Earth stations that Starlink connects to right now are, for want of a better word, they're like data centers, if you like. They're connection centers strategically placed. There's only a few of them around in certain areas. And then the network spans out using ideally fiber at that point. Here, not here, when it rolls out, the ESIM, Earth Stations in Movement, will put you as the Earth Station. So your RV will be the Earth Station. And that's what they've got to apply for the FCC for a different license to keep changing the bandwidth, keep changing the connections. It's in New South Wales, but close to the Victorian border. Yeah, okay, cool. I read today Elon is trying to get all his Starlink satellites to laser link to the neighboring satellite. I saw that, yeah. Cutting the need for so many Earth stations. Right on, right on. And that's what I'm saying. Like, we're so far into the beginning of this, right? This is so new and it's so different that we're only touching the edge. And that's why, again, I'll say it, that's why companies like this Netgear or Netvolt company are trying to catch on to that for a little while. They're trying to ride it for as long as they can, because eventually, when those lasers are up and the Earth stations in movement are up and running, you won't need any of that 4G stuff. 5G will be you won't even be worried about 5G. You'll be like, we got our own. And that's what I've always said. I said, if that works on my van, right? If it finally there's a different Dishy McDish, it's a bit smaller, whatever it works out to be, my van will be parked out the front, whatever the van winds up being, and I'll just have a cable coming off the van. That'll be my internet for the house. And then I can drive and take it wherever I want. That's rad, right? Bring it on, Elon.
Importantly is the amount of traffic that's going across that link. And you can see right now, it's showing around about 40 megabits per second right now across that traffic, but that will update every 60 seconds, right? So
I'd put money on Elon being a robot. I'd put money on Zuckerberg being more of a robot than Elon.
Netmon gives us some great analysis on these connections. If there are multiple connections that a customer has or one of their channel partner manages for a customer, then we can zoom out and look at the map of Australia and see where these connections are actually located. Green is obviously good, and you can see we're here in Bendigo for this particular client.
Don't dox them.
Now, what I did want to show is what happens during a failover type event. So what I'm going to do is leave our ping tests running to Google there and simulate a failure on the Starlink connection. So if there's a hardware failure, something goes wrong with the dish getting hit by lightning, anything like that, this is where we provide backup.
I think I read 0.1 millisecond latency when all 40,000 satellites are up and linked to each other. Wow. Wow. Kraftwerk, Elon, the e-robot. Imagine that, dude. That kind of latency that's rivaling fiber close to, right? Fiber is the flick of a switch of light, but that's pretty damn good.
But more than just backup, it's a seamless failover. Let me show you how. If we go and unplug the cable here that connects to the PoE adapter here, you'll see in our ping tests, we lose one ping packet, and that's the failover that I was talking about, where we fail over in under 1 second. And our ping tests continue.
So at that point, still not a failover if you're live streaming. If you lose 1 second, you've basically just dropped 30 frames if you're streaming at 30 frames a second, or if you're a gamer and you're streaming at 120 frames, you've just lost potentially a 360 scope or a major important part of the game. So that's not quite a failover, what he's saying. If you've lost 1 second of ping and therefore 1 second of outgoing data, like I said, if you're streaming a game and you're streaming at 120 frames, which is gamers With the tech that the gaming rigs these days, people are streaming at 120. I'm streaming at 1080 30. Gamers often stream 1080 120 or even 4K 60. And if you've lost, you see what I'm saying?
If I go and run another speed test on this connection,
It'll
and
dump
just
to
hit
the.
go on that, you'll notice that this public IP address here doesn't change.
It's still the
Again, it's one of
static.
our IP addresses, not a Starlink IP address.
Yeah.
And while the speeds are a lot slower, 80, 85 megabits per second on the download on that, it is still, it's failed over in under 1 second and still very usable for a home office environment, any sort of environment.
Of course, what he's not mentioning is the 4G can go down quite a lot, as I know from my streaming on 4G. So he's not telling us what 4G they're connecting to. I would probably say if he's in Geelong or Bendigo, wherever that was, rural Victoria, you'd probably be looking at Telstra. And they fall over all the time. Like I'll go to connect my modem before I live stream, and sometimes it just doesn't connect. It's like no service, and you've got to. I factory reset the modem. If you turn it off and start it again, doesn't make a difference. But if you factory reset it, it somehow trips the back end back into thinking it's a new connection, and off you go. Of course, all the default settings default back, so you got to quickly change all that crap. But so this guy's not mentioning that conveniently.
Where they need that continuity of service. Uploads are going to be affected. So what are we seeing there? Around about 4 to 5 megabits per second.
That's a lousy upload speed. I get like 8 meg, 10 meg. Sorry, that's wrong. I'm streaming at 7 meg right now, uploading 1080 30 because that's all it needs. But I typically get about 30 to 40 upload. Let's do a. You'll see my. Let me see if I can do a speed test here and get rid of my. Oh my god, speedtest.org. Let me see if I can do a speed test and get rid of my IP. I don't think you can. What? Speedtest.org. Why isn't that going to come? Speed test. Now I can't even bring up the website. Speedtest.net. I'll see if I can just block my IP. Nah, it shows it. It also says I'm connecting to Telstra. What? I'm on Optus. That's weird. Let me just see if I can enlarge this to get it off screen. I can. Okay, so this is not going to look great, but that's off. My my IP's hidden at least. There's my millisecond 19 down. 19 millisecond ping. Download speed of. I could have blocked it. I could have put a little blur thing. Yeah, with OBS. Yeah. Download speed. Oh, this is ruining my stream. Of course. Excuse me while my stream suffers while we do this. My stream suffering here. It's all good. It's all good. So there's my speed test. Just below 40 up. Ah, and there we go. We just did put my who cares? Wow, that's still can't. There's too many things on screen changing, but there you go. 19 millisecond ping, 132 down, and the upload, which is critical for a live stream, that's 40 meg. So that means you can stream at 1080 30 no problem. Of course, we did drop frames as we were sending the speed test, but we're back to normal now. Pretty cool. Let's get rid of that and let's continue this.
This is via a 4G LTE connection, but we failed over in under 1 second. I'm going to plug that connection back in and show you guys something else as well.
Now, what would be really cool is if he could show us bonding the two services together. That would be cool.
While we're waiting for that to reconnect, I'll just go back over to Netmon and just point out a few other things that are interesting here. So we've got a few connections that are in here that our channel partner has. This is the connection that's over here in Bendigo that was of most interest. You'll see that the traffic sensor here for the 4G LTE sensor has gone red, okay? That's the indication that we get, our network operations team get, to say that a service has gone offline. A Starlink service has gone offline, be it a fiber service that's gone offline, whatever type of service. So that's what our guys look for. And if we have a look at the amount of traffic that's flowing across that sensor, normally it would be sitting at almost zero. We do send a bit of keep alive traffic through it to make sure the connection is online, ready for failover, but normally that's green. And now that I've plugged that back in, if we give this another 60 seconds, we'll see that that will go back to green. I'll move on for the time being. The other thing that I did want to point out here within Netmon is that we've got a great way of looking at information from a download perspective. What sort of traffic is on the network? You know, if someone says that their internet connection is running slowly or there's a problem with it, we can look into what's called Netflow Statistics and look in here and see, well, you can see where these downloads are all going to. You can see that there's my download of the Linux ISO file consuming the majority of the bandwidth at the moment, the speed tests being the other. So Netmon gives you a great way of being able to do those sort of things. But the other thing that I wanted to point out is, as part of most solutions, we deploy voice and video solutions as well. And that's what this Cisco phone here comes into. Let me connect this up and do...
That is such dated tech, dude. Like, you can just use Zoom, man. Seriously, a hardware voice over internet protocol phone in 2021? That's such dated tech. It's like... That's like the old, like not even that long ago when you got like an ADSL service and they made you have a phone line, made you have a phone service as well. It's like, I'm only using this stupid copper phone line because that's the only way I can get internet. And you insist that I pay for a phone line rental as well? This is such, it's just get with the times, man. That's a fax machine. I think that would be the equivalent, Ashley. If this video was made 5 years ago, they'd be trying to sell you the fax machine as well. And well, some businesses insist on sending faxes. You don't want to be left out in the cold. Every fax you don't receive is potential lead lost. That's the kind of, dude, you've got a hardware phone there, yet Zoom does everything and more right there, and it's free. Like, get the hell out.
A demo of the Cisco phone on a video call and see what happens when we fail that halfway through a video call as well. Okay guys, for this next test, I want to show you what happens if the primary Starlink connection has an interruption or a failure during a video conferencing call. So our client has ordered a Cisco video phone as part of the solution that we're deploying for them here in their home office, so they can do...
Those will be the kind of phones that like people like urban explorers go into buildings and they're like, look at this, it's got one of those old phones. It's like you go into an old abandoned house and you see the kitchen, there's a Bakelite phone on the wall. Look, gonna call someone. That's gonna be the equivalent. Oh, it's got one of those old voiceover. And by the way, the giggle is probably worth a lot of money later on, extra 10 years from now on eBay. Oh, you can still buy one of those? No way. We used to design via fax. Paying by check, rotary phones, paying by check. I'm gonna send you my checking account.
Video conferencing calls to their clients and back to their head office in Melbourne. So what we're going to do is, halfway through a video call, I'm going to disconnect the cable to the Starlink terminal, and so we can see exactly what happens to that call. So I've got one of my staff members back in Brisbane ready to go, ready for this test. So let's run through it. Josh, how you going?
Good, man. Yourself?
Not too bad. If we can go through that test...
I can see you on the phone! I can see you on the phone! Josh, that's amazing! That's what that should be.
That I mentioned before, where you count down from 10 to 1, and I'm going to disconnect the Starlink cable from the Cisco router at about 7 seconds. So can you count down slowly from 10 to 1 for me, please?
Sure thing. Okay.
And the problem with these kind of Cisco voice over internet protocol phones and crap, most of them don't allow you to take a feed out. So you can't, like, let's just say you were in the office and you were busy working and you had someone call you and said, "Oh, we really want to have you as a guest on this show. Can you come on as a as a live feed?" You're like, "Well, yeah, we normally use those voice over internet phones." It's like, "Oh, how do you feed that signal into Skype, and how do you feed that into Zoom, and how do you feed that into Discord?" You can't. They're a closed unit. So you at that point they'll say, "Oh, can you just use Zoom?" And it's like, "Oh, we could use Zoom, but we paid for these phones." Yeah, but they're just a phone, right? That camera that you see there, you can't send that signal anywhere but into that device. So you're limited. You've got this hardware which is redundant because the software does it all, and every computer has a webcam. We're in 2021. I can't believe they sold this to a client because it's already well and truly redundant. Unbelievable.
8, 7, 4, 3, 2.
And that drop that we had, that wasn't my internet. That was him simulating the fallover. Hey Tim, how you doing, man? Still like fax machines, much faster to send hand-done design drawings of things than doing them on a PC and emailing. Hell no. You've never used an iPad, have you, Tim? An iPad with an Apple Pencil, and you rather hand draw it and then fax it? Get out of here.
4, 3.
We missed it again. Let's watch the fallover.
10-1 for me, please.
Sure thing. 10, 9, 8, 7, 4, 3.
We lost about 2 seconds worth.
2, 1.
So there we have that we had the countdown from 10-1, and we only lost about 2 seconds of audio and video during that conference call. So over here on my laptop, you can see our pings to Google. They dropped out for 1 second, and it's failed over to 4G LTE. This is a fantastic way of showcasing a Starlink plus NetVolt 4G LTE failover solution, where
the only way this would be beneficial is if this gentleman could show us how that router that they sell you, forget the voice over internet phone, the router, if you could bond it together with Starlink and effectively double your speeds, that would be a better use case than a fail-safe rollover. Because typically when the internet drops, which it does a lot, I'm streaming every day on a 4G connection. I know how often that drops out. When that happens, it comes back anyway. There may be like you just saw a 2-second outage. There may be a 2-second outage. Typically, it's back up itself. It's back up on itself within 2 to 3 seconds anyway. And if it doesn't, you pull the pin and come back later. Now you might say, but that's not good enough with business. That's why we've got 2 different connections. That's why we've got Starlink and 4G. I get that, but you're not demonstrating the beautiful thing of that tech, I don't think. And trying to on-sell a voice over internet phone, you know why? They probably have so many of those in stock that they're like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. You're going to love it. They probably bought millions of those units and they've got them in warehouses and no one wants them, so they package them in these bundles. Never tried the Apple Pencil and iPad, didn't know, I've been kept in the dark. So my brother is an engineer. He literally works all day with an iPad, iPad Pro, the big one, and a pencil, and everything he does is on that iPad and just straight up uploaded, straight off done, like screenshots, amendments, not only just amendments, but like sketches with his pencil and writing, which becomes text, and they send it off. And he said, dude, like for his civil engineering, he said this iPad is a game changer, like incredible.
Effectively, the video conference call has continued without any major interruptions. So that's it for this test. Thanks very much for that, Josh. I'll see you back in Brisbane in a couple of days.
No problem, mate. Have a good day.
Thanks. Okay, now for the final test. Now, just to prove there's no smoke and mirrors here, I want to show you guys what happens when I go and physically sever the cable. Do not try this at home. For those of you who've used Starlink services before, you'll know that the cable for Dish is actually pretty thick. So in order to cut that, I'm going to need something a bit more heavy duty.
this is just for the views, eh? Because cutting the cable is no different than unplugging it, but it's more drastic.
Let's go with some industrial wire cutters. Now watch what happens if I go and physically sever this cable.
What do you think's going to happen? The
If we have a look at our ping packets to Google, you see there we've lost one ping packet, but then we failed over.
And now you got to recrimp that end and put a new connecting cable on it. And what do they call the Cat 6 thing? Why have you done that for, dude?
But even though Dishy is gone. So by failing over to 4G LTE in under 1 second, we've shown that the service keeps running, video calls keep working, downloads keep working, everything keeps working because of our seamless 4G LTE failover technology.
Just don't use it if you're a gamer trying to stream, because you've just lost 60 frames of gameplay. 120 if you're streaming 120.
That's all from me, guys. If you've got any questions, please contact our office or email sales@netvault.net.au.
Not put them in the comments below. Contact our sales office.
We'll be happy to help. Thanks, everyone. See you in the next video.
Ah, you missed it. You missed it, dude. You missed the whole idea of YouTube. You should have been asking for comments. Let's see if can the client system be upgraded to 5G? It depends on the router, doesn't it? $800. A basic, sorry, that's the basic Starlink. Oh, they didn't put the, oh, look at this. Someone said, how much does this setup cost? Netfold Australia, a basic Starlink home connection is $800 setup fee plus $139 a month. The professional installation like this is more expensive and depends on the individual requirements. So they couldn't even put what the cost of that was. That's lousy. Why you cut the black wire? You can just disconnect it from the power supply. No comment. The cable was disconnected in the earlier part of the video. Cutting the wire was to prove a point, more drastic, that the failover was real and really does kick in with 1 second. Gleb says, is this video about how to waste money? Starlink does not need to be installed by a bunch of expensive guys with their public IP. Starlink is only $4.99. That's American cost, and $99 for the service. 7 replies. Not one of them from the company. For a standard home user, that is correct. Oh, this is from Radek. This is the guy in the video. Hi, Gleb. For a standard home user, that's correct. It's not usually needed, but if you're a user who wants a nice, neat, professional installation and the seamless failover to a 4G LTE circuit in under 1 second, this solution may be of benefit. Also, businesses who need a failover service and cannot afford any downtime may want a superior service like this. But you do have downtime. You had 2 seconds at one point. Depending on customer needs, a static IP may be required. Wish I had a seamless failover with UDM Pro. Richard Price. Most people don't have money. Most people that have money don't mind spending it. Maybe the owner didn't feel like they were getting on the roof himself. Not a waste of money at all for businesses, even one run from a home office. Each to their own, says the OP. What seems like a waste to you might not be a waste of money to me. Also, the Starlink service is currently in beta. This is a good point. We didn't mention that. Might not be needed once it goes into full production. Very good point. This is equivalent to buying an iPhone and having it installed. This is a consumer device for home use. It's true. It's true. It's true. It's true. He's made a good point. He's made a good point. UK Starlink is £500. Yeah, there you go. Well, just to summarize this, I'm very, very interested in Starlink. I'm not at all interested in that. I kind of didn't. Probably should have done a bit more research before we watched that, because I didn't think that's exactly what that video would be. But that's not my interest in Starlink. My interest in Starlink is for live streaming to the internet from a moving vehicle, camping, going where 4G doesn't go at the moment, and having a seamless connection. Now, I'm going to use that in conjunction with my LiveView Solo. So right now I've got a LiveView Solo. I can't get it for you, but let's just pretend my Stream Deck from yesterday's video. I do have the base, which I just took it out of, in case you're wondering, is he not using the stand? So let's just assume this is my LiveView Solo device. The LiveView Solo sends a signal that you input to it into a cloud-based server, and then sends that to an RTMP receiving, in my case, Go Lightstream, and Go Lightstream then sends that out. Sorry, that's wrong. Sorry. The LiveView Solo sends a signal up to the cloud-based storage, and from the cloud-based ingest, it sends it out to, in my case, Restream.io, which one of the Restream.io I've done that all wrong. You know why I've done this wrong? Because I forgot how it's done, because it's a one-click setup, and I haven't had to change it since I've been doing IRL streams for now over a year. The LiveView Solo sends the signal up to the cloud for LiveView Solo, and from there, it sends it out, in my case, to Go Lightstream. Go Lightstream then sends it out to all the Restream devices. The beautiful thing of the LiveView Solo is, I said it sends the signal you put into it out. You can put multiple signals in, and it sends them all out, therefore giving you redundancy. So if you put 2 different 4G signals in, which is what I do, one from Optus and one from Telstra, both of those signals come in, both of them go up to the cloud, and the cloud picks whichever one's the strongest and then sends it. So in a sense, you've got a lot of redundancy because you can put 4 signals in if you wanted to. You could put 2 Optus signals and 2 Telstra signals into it, and then you'd send all 4 of them out. And therefore you've got a live stream, which, unlike this situation, when one falls over, it doesn't make a difference because it's taking the one that's permanently connected anyway. Now, why is that intriguing? Because if you have Starlink added to the mix, you could have Optus 4G coming in, Telstra 4G coming in, Starlink satellite going in, and maybe even a 5G from your phone going in. And then you've got 4 different signals. And everywhere that 4G isn't available, when when Starlink, ESIM, Earth Stations in Movement, when they're up and running, even if the 4G doesn't make connection to the local tower, bam, you've still got an outgoing connection. That's what I want from Starlink. That's why I cancelled my better than nothing beta for the roof-mounted version. I don't want to use that. If they're working, which they are on this ESIM version, I feel like that's going to be the savior for IRL live streaming. You have to do it in conjunction with nice software, though. The Go Lightstream is what I recommend. So rad. Ashley, if you have a 4G modem connected to the computer while on Starlink, then if it drops, the network card will switch to the 4G modem alone. If you had a 4G modem connected to the computer while on Starlink, if Starlink drops, then the network card will switch to the 4G modem alone. I mean, that's how they work. Yeah, that's essentially what this guy was doing, but he was doing it like he was providing that service for dum-dums, right? People that don't know how it works. That's you've just nailed it. That's exactly how they work. So, Giggles, I wonder what Starlink would cost in the US. It's $4.99 in the US and $80 a month, I think. So the dish is $4.99 to buy outright. You have to buy it, and they ship it to you, and then it's $80 a month. It's convoluted, right? The way that dude did it's convoluted. Don't forget my use case with the LiveView Solo. That's a different way of streaming, but it's a way to ensure redundancy. Maybe with ESIM and Starlink, you could maybe avoid using the LiveView Solo, because if Starlink does what it's meant to do and when it's fully operational, it might never fall over, right? Satellite's permanently above you. Maybe you only need that connection. I'm happy to test that when we get to that point in history, but right now we're not quite there. And I do have the LiveView Solo, and I'm happy to continue using it. It's good fun. I do love live streaming out there in the open. That's expensive. Elon has been talking about trying to get that costing down a little bit lower. But a regular internet plan, unlimited data, $99 a month would be pretty normal. Hardware is a little expensive at this stage because it's it's new. Don't forget, it's not even if you did buy that, you're buying beta. You're not buying a finished product. So all of the videos you see online, all of the ones explaining why it's not working or how it works sometimes and how it sometimes stops, they should always say, this isn't the final product. That might not even be the final hardware. I mean, the boxes don't look like it's the final. The boxes look like they've been reused. We've seen people open up their Dishy McDish face and it looks like, dude, did someone else already open this before you or something? It doesn't look like it's $500 worth. Ashley says, when you blow up on YouTube on viral and buy your own fiber to the home, it would help the home streams. Wishful. Oh, Ashley, the thing with this country, and like I said earlier, I've already looked into getting the fiber to the premises. It used to be 12 grand. The quote that came back was over 12 grand to get, and it's only 400 meters away. It's 380 meters from here as the crow flies. Like this, as the crow flies, straight from here to the node. That's the fiber to the node, right? So the fiber gets to that point and just stops, and then from there up the street in a little zigzag manner, it runs along the copper. If I wanted to remove the copper and run fiber straight from that node all the way up here, about a year and a half ago when we investigated doing it, over 12 grand. Now, obviously, I'm not paying 12 grand to get a piece of fiber run, so I just forgot about it. Then the government said, oh, well, how about this? We found $4.5 billion and we're going to run fiber to the premises in selected areas. Certain areas are going to get it. We'll choose what those areas are. And by the way, this is the first of that area selections. And you're not one of them. So I was like, oh, bugger. Okay. And here's the second selection. Fast forward 8 months from there. Here's the second selection of areas in the country that are going to get it. You're still not one of them. I was like, okay, bugger. But we are reducing the cost of running fiber yourself. So if you want to pay for it, we've reduced the cost. Oh, really? Do a little searchy search. It's only 5 grand now. So it's gone from 12 grand to 5 grand. And as that's happening, the government's saying, we're doing it for free in certain areas. So it's like, well, I'm just going to wait and hopefully they announce this area. And if they don't, another year from now, maybe it's only down to $1,000. And if it's $1,000, maybe I'll spend some Bitcoin and do it. I don't know. But what I'm saying is it's coming cheaper and cheaper and cheaper because of things like Starlink. They know they've got to compete. A lot of towns have 5G now that people are using point-to-point 5G, which is better than the lousy fiber to the node crap. So they know, and it's getting cheaper. In some places it's free. Warragee, Hendrick, I know where Warragee is. They announced that suburb. Milton, Ulladulla. All these places around, yeah, we're doing it for free. Your place, nah. Timsky, oh, that's the error. Well, folks, let's wrap it up here. I could talk about the internet. Yo, Lady Crocetta in the house. What? Coming in. How you going, Lady Crocetta? We're just wrapping up here. I could talk about this, but I am using my 4G bandwidth for the month and I am chewing through it because we've been doing extra streams. I've got to check that today, actually. I may be getting close to using too much. I might have to use my Telstra modem. As I sit here streaming here and as I do on DLive, I'm only using my Optus connection. So if I do get to the point where my Optus says, dude, you've only got like 10 gig left out of 500 a month, I'll be like, oh, I'm going to have to use the Telstra modem. We have a 5G tower and it is still crappy? Yeah, right. Okay. They only do it in liberal voting areas. We all know that. I don't want to get too political, but I think you might be right there, Henrik. I think you could be right. Folks, I'll see you all on DLive later on today if you're sticking around, if you're interested. Otherwise, tomorrow... I don't drink throughout the week, but tomorrow... it's a Jack stream. I cannot wait for the Jack! Ah, yeah! See you all then. Thanks for the stream. Thanks, Gigs. Cheers.